Hello YouTube. This is a continuation of the cool stuff playlist here, where each video I'm going to show off a cool little thing that's either interesting in a back-end programmatic way or in a front-end UI way. This video is going to talk about notes. So to begin with, I just want to discuss notes briefly. So the notes implementation in AX is actually a pretty technically beautiful and functional system. You can attach a note to anything, and on the back end it just references the record. It makes use of what AX is really good at. You can attach all kinds of different notes, and each note can have certain attachments that it needs and all that kind of stuff. But the problem with it is that it's a technically beautiful and functional solution, and in general that doesn't equate to a very good user experience. Now, I know why they buried the notes. The primary issue is that if I put a note on an order, in order for you to see that note, you have to specifically decide to look at the attachments on that order and see if the note shows up. So that's not a great solution for a number of reasons. Most of all, the users have to decide to click and look at notes, and it's very easy to miss something that's there. So this is primarily a user interface edition here, and it's this little notes box. So on each order you can go ahead and see the notes. You can see there's no notes in here, and I'm going to add a note. This is a note, and I'm going to add that there, and you can see there I have this is a note attached. I can do this is another note, and I'm going to add that, and you basically see all the notes, and you can see those are actual notes on this order. They go in as notes. This is a note, this is another note. So I want to get into a little bit of how this works, and I'm going to show you some ways that this is even more functional than it looks on the surface. To begin with, I just want to show you the configuration here. So I've got some stuff from doing rehearsals of this video here. I'm going to go ahead and take that format out, and I'm going to show you the standard format. So you can see here I have a number of different tables. So these are the types of notes, and then you can configure what you're allowed to do with those notes. So I'm going to actually just display them in the default way, and I'm going to not allow me to add notes. And you can see here this is showing just the note type notes. If I had other types of notes, I could add them there. Then go ahead and hit the configuration there and hit F5, and you can see that I have this is a note, and this is another note. And you see I'm not able to add them here. So if I were to go in through attachments, and let's add just a new document type or drawing type note. I'm going to call this this is a drawing note, and we will say okay. So you notice that did not show up here. Even if I move to the next order and go up, that did not show up, but that's because it's not configured to show drawings. If I went in here and configured the sales table to also show drawings, and maybe I wanted to show those in a different way, so I'm just going to say me.notes. We'll get into what that configuration is here in a second. Then if I then go and look at this again, we can see that the drawing note is displayed in a slightly different way. So you can actually do some pretty complicated stuff here. You can see before I had the created date time in there, and that is actually from this display format functionality. I'm going to go ahead and delete the drawings. I don't want to see drawing notes. So here you can actually do X++, and you have access to the docuref object as something called me inside of this, and that's just something that I programmed in to decide that it's called me. So we have, I'm actually going to do this one, string format, and what I want to show it in is the user who created it, and then in parentheses the date it was created and the note itself. So I'm going to do string format, and then I'm going to say me.createdby, and then I'm going to say me.created date time, because that is a field that we have on the docuref source. And I'm also going to say me.notes And we're going to go ahead and save that, and then I'm going to go check it out. And you can see I've got the time in there, and I have the time in there. Maybe I want to see the time, maybe I don't. If I don't, all I have to do is go in and do X++ there. I think it's date time util date, I believe is how to take a date time into a date. We'll go ahead and just test that here. Yep, you can see right there I have the date. So that's the basic functionality of the notes, but one of the other difficulties with notes, it's not too bad to go and click attachments one time, but sometimes you have notes at the header and the line level, and you want to see both of those notes together. So that's one area that this excels at. I'm going to show you here just in the details form. So in this details form, you'll notice I've blurred out big sections of this because I'm not going to show actually our production data here. But I just want to show you that that here I've added both order level and a line level notes part on there. You can see I have no notes on the order line here. If I go ahead and configure this Factbox on sales lines to allow adding, then I can add some notes. I believe I need to refresh this form. There we go. This is a line note. I'm going to add that there, and I'm actually going to just add a line here just to show you that this line has no notes, this line does have notes. So basically, that's how you'd add. So if you have sales orders and the customer, you can add all the different notes, all visible in one place based on what the user is selecting. And it makes it easy to add notes to the lines or the sales orders, and it makes it clear what they are. Now, one of the big advantages to this particular notes Factbox, it's fairly easy to write this. Maybe the addition thing is a little difficult, but this is actually just one Factbox. The configuration is obviously doing some fancy stuff, but I want to show you how easy it is to add those to a form that doesn't have it. So I'm going to go into the production orders, which I know do not have notes attached to them here. I mean, they have notes, but they don't have the notes box there. And I just want to go in and show you. Personalize. I'm going to add this list page. I want to show you how easy it is to add these. So I'm going to go ahead and check out my object, and then I'm going to do a new parts reference, and I'm going to call that notes part. And the menu item here is called LK underscore notes part. We prefix our objects with our initials there. That's how they decided to do that around here. So basically I have that notes part. I'm just adding a reference to it on the list page. And then here all I need to do is hook up what data source the notes part's going to connect to, and then what docuref relation I'm going to use. So in this case, prod table does have a docuref relation. If you don't have a docuref relation, then all you need to do is go into tables, find docuref, and basically just add a relation between docuref and the table. You can see actually I've added this one here. It didn't exist to begin with. And of course the relation to any table to the docuref is just table ID equals table ID, rec is rec, and then ref company ID is the data area ID. So once you've added that relation, all you need to do is hook it up and go ahead and save that. And then as soon as that saves, I'm going to go back to my environment here. Production orders, open the list page again, and you can see I've got that notes part, and you can see I actually have added a note to this, and that works in the same way. So these notes part fact boxes, they're fairly easy to write in terms of just displaying the notes. So I'm not going to get into the technicality of how I made this kind of beefed up version that's general and has all those configuration options in this series of videos, but I'm happy to do that in the future if you comment and tell me you want to see how this supersized one works. But I would highly encourage that at least on your high traffic notes areas, you make something like this that at least displays the notes, because a lot of users love notes and will write notes in expecting people to look for it, and then you have the situation where your whole organization is either missing important information or has to basically slow down every process by opening up multiple forms and checking where the notes are. So that's about it for the Notes Fact Box. Make sure to leave me a comment if you want to see an in-depth guide into how to make this with all its fancy little bits and bobs. And stay tuned to the rest of the playlist for additional cool little user interface things that you can bring into your environment. Thanks.